Freedom convoy protests that started in Canada have inspired similar demonstrations in various parts of the world. The latest country where freedom convoy-like protests are brewing is Israel. With engines of trucks, tractors and cars revving, with music blaring from massive speakers and with drums and other instruments, thousands of protesters from 40 cities across Israel marched in what they call a freedom convoy. This was towards Jerusalem. The protesters plan to travel to the parliament. They are calling on the government to lift the state of emergency declared due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The protest is organized around a central message, "Take back the wheel," which essentially means undoing the state of emergency and repealing major laws related to the COVID-19 curbs that grant the government special powers to deal with the spread of COVID-19.
Our government, like many other governments around the world, has taken too much authority upon themselves and too many freedoms away from their citizens. It's enough already. It's 2 years. There really isn't an emergency anymore. They could deal with it. And people also should have the right to make their own medical choices for themselves.
Well, I'm originally from Canada, now living here in Israel, and I'm here to support the convoy, both in Canada and here and throughout the world. It's time we put an end to this tyranny, bring back freedom, bring back transparency in government, bring back choice, and let's get this going.
Several groups of protesters took positions on major bridges and other prominent locations around Jerusalem. Apart from demanding government's emergency powers to be repealed, the protesters have 5 other demands. They include restoring a normal routine for all the students, a total reopening of the country's economy and an end to illegal surveillance of the citizens, ending discrimination based on the vaccination status, and full disclosure of contracts between the government and the pharmaceutical giant Pfizer, which led to Israel being the first country in the world to launch a mass vaccination program and paying well above the market price for Pfizer's COVID-19 jabs.
Yeah, because Israel has become the lab rat for the whole process of mandated vaccines and the hysteria about a COVID infection, which is very, very nasty, but is perfectly okay when it's treated well and treated properly and treated with the right things, as they now know, both in India and in Africa. But we don't. We're committed to some sort of vaccine program.
Our correspondent Jody Cohen has sent us this report from Jerusalem. Take a look.
I'm at the entrance to Jerusalem, and Israel's Freedom Convoy is heading here from 40 cities. They're also protesting at bridges and intersections across the country. So far, it's a small but festive atmosphere, but the protesters are serious about their demands, calling for freedom from all corona restrictions, a normal routine for children, transparency and respect for individual rights. With 42,000 followers on their Facebook group, it remains to be seen what impacts the protests will have on government policy. This is Jody Cohen for WION World is One.
WION now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.